Hi, I'm Wade from Thoroughbred Diesel, and today we're going to be installing a HSP cold air intake on an LB7 Duramax. HSP builds a phenomenal cold air intake. I'm going to link you to a overview video that we have in this video to our product video doing a complete overview of this air intake. Check it out if you got any questions about the air intake. This video's purpose is to show you how to install one on an LB7 Duramax. We're going to do something just a little bit differently today. In this installation, we're not going to bore you with removing your air intake or how to remove air intake from the truck. You've seen us do that on several different videos that we've done. It's pretty much a grab it and go type of a situation. We're going to talk you through some of the fine points of what you will do in preparation for installing this HSP intake. We're going to show you a full installation of the HSP air intake and then give you plenty of shots of the engine bay after the HSP intake has been installed. Big shout out and a big thank you to the guys at HSP for sending this air intake down for us to do this installation today. Let's go ahead and get started with our install. You know, one thing we wanted to say in the opening part of this installation video is we are literally putting lipstick on a pig by putting this air intake kit in this raggedy truck. This is, I say that, I love this truck. This is my truck. This is my LB7. She is what the kids call nowadays clapped out. But we're going to be putting this gorgeous HSP intake in this truck. HSP a couple of years ago sent us the upper coolant pipe for this truck, so this matches all that perfectly. So I'm kind of blinging out my engine bay here. So let's talk about this this setup here. Now, what we've already done, already had an aftermarket intake on this truck. I took the air intake out. We didn't need to show that because we've shown it in several different videos. If you have your stock air intake box at the turbo side, you're going to have the resonator plate, the resonator the resonator kit itself, and part of the air intake that will just need to unbolt from the turbo and then just simply unbolt everything coming back towards your air intake box, and then the air intake box simply will pop up out of these grommets in the lower plate for the air intake. So that's how you will pull the lower box out. Now, while you have this out, and Adam and I, we're going to switch positions here real quick. While you have the air intake out, these trucks, as they come from the factory, two things. First, in your passenger side fender well here, there will be a piece of aluminum, as best I can say it, foil here that blocks this side, and then you have your lower air intake plate. This is what your stock air intake box actually pushes into. These are the two grommets that they go into. You're going to want to remove this piece of aluminum right here. This is going to get you cold air into the air intake kit from this fender well, and then you're actually going to remove this lower plate as well. What this is going to do is this is going to give you good cold air intake that's going to be coming from the bottom of the air of the engine bay, from that wheel well there, and then you're going to be getting cold air coming in from the front or the headlight bezel of the truck. And again, like we talked about in the overview of this air intake, lid on that box, on this HSP box, and it keeps the engine heat away from your air intake filter. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to show you that. I'm going to show you how to take this plate out, this lower plate for the air intake out real quick. 10 metric, 5 bolts, and this comes right straight out. We'll show you where these bolts are real quick. Here, 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 and here, for a total of 5. So we're going to go ahead and take the plate that we've got our 5 mounting bolts out. So we're going to take this lower plate out. Once you get the lower plate out, you're going to want to clean around in here. This is going to have dirt, grime, road grime here. You're going to want to clean that up because you don't want that going into your filter right off bat, and then that's going to be cutting down on your flow. With this setup, you have 3 long bolts that come out of this and then 2 short bolts. Your long bolts, you're going to use these back to mount the HSP box. So the HSP box comes in the package with the lid already on it. We're going to leave that there. I'm just going to go ahead and slide this in here. Then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and pull the lid off of it so we have access to our holes. And then we'll go ahead and take the lid off. And then remember those bolts I was talking to you about, the 3 longer bolts. I think Adam's got a good shot here. You can see that's going to line up at 3 mounting locations right here. We're going to go ahead and reuse 2 of the long bolts. I told you wrong here, I apologize. We're using 2 of the long bolts here and actually 1 of the short bolts on the outside. Pardon me. I thought we were using all 3 long. It's 2 of the longs and 1 of the shorts at the fender well here. So we've got these bolts in line here. Everything is lined up. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this down. The mass airflow sensor block that is welded onto this 4.5-inch mandrel bent tube from HSP has got a directional arrow for flow on here. The flow arrow is going to need to be pointing towards the turbo. You can see that on there. So we're going to go ahead and drop the intake pipe in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you to go ahead and take your silicone that HSP has sent you, the silicone coupler boot here. We're going to go ahead and put that on there with your clamps, leave everything loose there, but that's going to make it just easier for you on your installation. I'm going to turn these bolts out, and then I want to try to get the HSP logo, because this coupler has got the HSP logo on it too. So let's get that turned over so everybody knows we're rocking HSP. Perfect. All right. So we got that on. So when you go to start your intake pipe in, the HSP box is going to have this seal already in it. I really like this seal because this is good enough seal that it's going to make a good seal from the box, shield you from the heat, but it also is going to allow for good movement of the pipe so you have optimal fitment. So we're going to go ahead and pull the intake pipe in. Remember, directional arrow for flow needs to be pointing towards the turbocharger. So there. So once you are lined up, move this clamp down. Once you're lined up, just go ahead and push it onto your turbo inlet. Adam made a good point just a minute ago. We need to make sure that you guys know we had this truck in here working on it. The fender well is out of this. If you don't have a fender well in your truck, do not run this air intake. This is an open bottom air intake. You want to make sure that your fender well is in and the fender well is intact. So make sure that we told you all about that. So now we have our intake tube in. We've left our clamps loose. So you want to leave your clamps good and loose so you've got good movement on the air intake pipe to get the air intake tube in. Show you how to put the air filter in. So this is a pretty tight fit on this. You can do this a couple different ways. Sometimes I'll take the clamp off of it, so I've got make sure that this is good and flexible, but this filter is kind of angled at a whatever 45 degree there. So you want the 45 to be up, and you want to take it and then put it on your pipe, just get it started. And then what I like to do is I like to just take my thumbs and work on the outside of the filter and put a little pressure against it, get the bottom of it started, and then I'll just give it one more little push here and then just keep guiding it into the box. Now, what that does is that keeps you from bending the filter, gets the filter on the air intake box, and then once you get it inside the box, turn it where you want it to where it's not hitting anything, and it makes good clearance. Turn your clamp to the correct position at that point, and you are ready to tighten it down. So we've got our air intake filter in, we've got our tube on. What we need to do now is we need to go through and tighten up all of our clamps because we've got it in the position that we want it. So we're going to set it in here now where we want this. So we're going to tighten up this clamp 5/16, and then of course our silicone boots up here. This is 11 metric, and we're going to go ahead and tighten everything down. Mass airflow sensor time, guys. All right, so when you're putting that mass airflow sensor in here directionally, you have your flow going into the face of the turbo. You want the open portion of this mass airflow sensor. This is for the LB7s. You want that pointing to the flow so that the flow gets it. The electrical connector be pointing out. This has a rubber seal on it, the stock one, so just put it back in there. You really can't get this wrong because if you turn it around, the holes don't line up, so don't try to jam the bolts in there. Let it go the natural way that it wants to go. And then these guys from HSP send you new hardware for this. These are 3 metric Allen head bolts. So we're going to go ahead and put our our mass airflow sensor is in here. Without cross threading our bolts. Okay. So we'll tighten our mass airflow sensor down. Then we'll connect our mass airflow sensor wire, and we will be done with that. Wire comes around, fits perfectly, push till it clicks. Now, final piece of the puzzle here, we're going to go ahead and put our nice HSP lid on our box. If you go to change this filter, when changing is the reverse of what I showed you on installation, turn the filter up and then use your thumbs to create a little bit of pressure on the end of the filter, and there we go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and put my bolts in for the cover. So that's putting an HSP air intake on an LB7 Duramax. Can't say enough good about this air intake. It really is. It's gorgeous. Again, you can check out our video where we do a full overview on the product, but it gets the air intake into a position to where it's going to pull cold air in, which is going to be your better, denser air. It is going to deflect the heat from the air from the engine compartment with the lid. The mandrel bent intake tube is on as straight a line as it possibly can be to the turbo, so less curves, less transitions, better airflow. 4.5 inch inlet tube, gorgeous powder coating. This is a really, really nice intake kit. If you're looking for function as well as good looks, I definitely suggest HSP air intakes. Again, big shout out to the guys at HSP for sending us this air intake for this installation. Down here is going to be a link to purchase the HSP air intake for your LB7 trucks. We have them for all the other Duramaxes as well. And then we will also have links in here to get you to our product overview video on this. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you to HSP for the product. If you have any questions on HSP products, please give us a call. Thank you for watching.